It probably is gonna, okay, so I
Ah,
am
now it said
recording.
that.
Yeah, so I am recording and then it's going to send me a link to share with you. So when you get the link, it's going to have the link to click on and then it's going to have a password to access that link, right? So you'll click on it, you'll take that password, put it in the password thing, and it's going to give you access to the video. But save that video once you get onto it to your computer if nothing, because I won't keep them in the cloud long because I have to store all of it, you know what I mean? So
Course,
yeah,
course,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But you might
And
just be
maybe
recording.
maybe mine's recording it as well.
Correct. Yeah. And if it does, let me know and I won't even worry about sending you the link, but and
Okay.
then I'll just delete it.
One of
But
one of us is doing this, right?
yes, like we should have this covered. And I'm going to take notes either way, and then I will still message you pictures of my notes, okay?
Yeah.
And you're going to see me going down here on my lap a bit while I write those things down, but your loved ones show me more while I'm writing. And then second thing is the ums. You're going to hear me say a lot. I call it my heavenly Tourette syndrome. I don't know why, but for some reason when I'm connecting, it makes me say way too much. Like that. And the last thing I will let you know is that the very first loved one to come through may or may not be that one that we really want to hear from today. And I always say, if it's not the first loved one to come through, please don't stress. Heaven knows what your heart needs. I have never done a reading where the ones we wanted to hear from did not come through. I don't plan on you being my first, okay? I'm gonna start if that's okay, because I got somebody who's kind of driving me a little nuts for you, and then we're gonna go from there.
I am.
I want to talk about the female who's putting herself above you. She makes me feel like mom, um, above you. Um, she does make me feel like a mother figure for you. Do you understand that? She's saying mom. Is she one that we wanted to hear from today? Because okay, cool, cool. I always say, see, heaven knows. She's like,
Oh, I'm gonna cry already.
I have that effect on people, girl. Do you have Kleenex or you need to grab them?
I've watched all your videos. I've watched everything.
Oh, I love it. Okay, and she's saying this is my baby girl. Well, let's start with her. Um, Now, mom does make me feel like she had a health journey. She's telling me I did have a journey and she's making my vision a bit blurry. So was she cloudy in her head or like with her memory? Because she's making me feel like, was there something going on in her mind with her memory? Health had a journey.
Um, she had she had diagnosed Alzheimer's for 5 years before she passed.
Yep. She says, my memory was a struggle, is what I'm writing down. But she says, I never forgot you. So, she
She didn't.
didn't,
She
like
didn't.
literally in life, she didn't, she always knew who you were. She's telling, wow, that's awesome. Never.
Um,
She forgot plenty of others though.
she knew who I was. The Alzheimer's didn't finish her off in the end. I mean, it did, but in a complicated way. But she knew who I was, and
Yeah, because she's telling
she
me I had a journey with this. I feel like she had quite a health journey with this.
she did.
And she stayed sweet, she's telling me. So sometimes Alzheimer's can make us really nasty and mean and vulgar. And she's like, no, 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 I stayed sweet. So I do feel like most of her journey, she did stay polite and sweet and
She
nice.
she had her moments.
Yes.
She had her moments, as they all do, where she got frustrated and a little bit angry sometimes and confused. And she'd always, even if she said something mean, she would 10 minutes later she'd forget what she'd said because they do, and she'd
Yep.
know, she'd carry that feeling, and she'd say, sorry darling, I think something's just happened and I'm sorry if I've upset you.
Yep.
And I always used to say to my sister and my cousin that my mother always had great manners right until the end.
She did,
even
and that's what
even
she's telling me. She's like, Farah, I did stay sweet. I do feel like she tried to hold true to herself, and your mom could have been a nasty, bitter woman in life normally, and she's not. So I do feel like she did try to carry on that sweetness and that, and she's a well put together woman too. She's telling me like I would accessorize and I would do my hair and think she's saying I'm a well put together, beautiful woman in life. So I feel
oh,
like, oh, and believe me, she's beautiful in heaven, put together. Um, Beautiful woman in life.
sorry,
Now she's
I
talking
told you
about moving a few
I'm a
times as well.
crier.
Did you have to move her a few times? Because she's telling me you helped with a few moves. Like, and she's referencing two big moves. Does that make sense? So I don't know if we had to move her and then move her again in a big way, but she
Yeah,
says,
we did. Yeah, we
love
did.
it.
We moved her out of our family home 12 years ago, and she was settled there for about 8 years. So the first move she's probably referring to is when she got diagnosed. We moved her to a retirement village, and bought a retirement home that has everything on site, one of those places.
Love
But she
that.
didn't last very long. She didn't last very long there, unfortunately, because she
And then was she
caught
staying with
pneumonia.
you? Because she's talking about coming to stay with you. And she didn't even have to cook, she's telling me. She's like, you,
Oh God, sorry, I'm gonna cry all the
no,
way
that's
through this.
okay, girl. That's love. Don't you be
Oh my God.
sorry.
She couldn't be left alone. She got pneumonia and it caused delirium, which made her Alzheimer's worse. So she wasn't safe. And as power of attorneys, my sister and I were told that we would get prosecuted if we'd left her alone. So we had to take turns. My two sisters went and lived with her for a week here or so, and then she basically moved in with my husband and I for quite a number of months before the second big move that she mentioned, which
And
was into a
as you
care
say
home.
that, she's telling me I need to tell you that your husband is a patient saint.
Oh my God. Yes, he is.
He
He's
is.
too patient. He's too patient, Farah. I'm quite feisty like you, and I
Yeah.
get the impression that you are.
Yeah.
And I'm quite fiery. My mum loved me
Same.
for it, but
Yes.
my husband just stands there and stares at me and doesn't say anything. And it's a beautiful thing, but sometimes it's incredibly frustrating when you want something back.
Yeah, yeah, but you
She's
know
right.
what? You balance each other. And she's like, you tell her that her husband is a patient saint because she knows you and she knows him, right? So,
Yeah, and he was very patient with her, and he loved having her in the house. He's very much in the mindset that we should take care of people, and so
and
he was
she's
very
taking
patient.
me to the other room. Was she that way? Why is she taking me that way?
I know. So I'm in my kitchen, and that way is my next door neighbours, but that way is a lounge area that she spent a lot of time sitting in.
Okay, is there something for her that way then? Why is she telling me if is there something for her to the right?
Could
If
be.
if you look to the right,
Yeah.
do you-
What you thinking?
she's telling me I'm that way right there. So it's not just her picture she's telling me. So do you have something sitting for her that way to your right?
I do.
Because she's telling me, tell my daughter I'm that way. And you can see what I can see it. I can see the wall and the door, whatever. But she's telling me I'm that. She says, you have me that way. And it's not just a picture, she's telling me.
How did you know about the picture?
Because she's telling me
I'm
it's not
joking.
just a
I'm
picture. So
joking.
there is a picture as well, right?
Come. I need to do this live with you.
Oh,
Okay.
I love it. And what's the
Um,
metal? What's the metal that I'm seeing as well? Is there metal with it? I love that you haven't shown it to me yet, right? But she says there's metal with this. And she's, oh my God, I love her.
so there she is.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
And that was the photo we used on her coffin.
Oh,
And
she's beautiful.
isn't she beautiful? Oh
Now
my
I got to
God,
get my readers on.
she was beautiful in every possible way. There's her ashes.
Oh, I
And the
love
metal things you can see are these two yoga figurines. Can you see
that.
them?
And that must be why I'm making this face or this shape with my hands, right? Because she's making me feel
Can you
like,
see them?
yes, I can. That is so
So
cool. It's
so
not just the picture. And
oh
she says,
Farah.
yes, you have metal there for me. And they're shaped like, I mean, I guess that's the best way I could have gone like this. Um, but she said,
One we bought them together in Bali in Indonesia a long
oh.
time ago, and I had one and she had one, and when she died, I took her other one, and they've both been placed in front of her ashes, and I light candles every day when I say good morning and good night to her.
That's why she kept saying, I'm over there. I'm
Yeah.
over there. I'm like, what? Your room is, that's why. So I interpret, oh, she must mean her room is that way or her space is that way, right? And it is. Her space is that way. And she's showing me, Farah, it's not just the picture. There's this metal that she has there too. And she says,
Oh my
love
God.
it.
Oh my God.
Um,
They are made of some sort of Yeah, I
Yeah,
was
in
going to
my
say
vision,
copper,
I
but
see it
it's not
like a
copper.
memory, so it looks like a
They
memory
are.
to me. Like she's
Wow.
oh,
Yeah,
that's
we bought
so
them together,
awesome.
probably like 2008 or something like that. One of the trips that we did together.
Now she is talking about, so she did come to stay with you, she makes me feel, but were we talking about moving her again after that stay? Because were we having to move her again? Because she's taking me out of the house again in my vision.
So she was living with me, and I wanted to keep her living with us, and I wanted to commit to doing that. I had a 2-year-old at the time and a 7-year-old, so things were quite
Absolutely.
difficult. And I just recovered from tuberculosis after having my daughter. I'd nearly died from that, and so I was struggling. I'd struggled for a long time with my health, and then I came out of that journey straight into becoming her main carer, really. And and I really wanted her to live in the house, but having a 2-year-old that still woke up at 10 times a night, and then having a mother that then woke up in between those times and
Yeah,
stood
because
at the end
she's
of our
telling me
bed.
you did have to move me out again, is what I'm seeing. So I do feel like she did
So
come
we
stay with you, and it was great. She's telling me it was great, but I actually feel like she got good care after the move as well. She's telling me.
she did, and so it was the hardest thing I've had to do, as it is for many people, having to put their parents into care homes, and not what I wanted to do. But I deliberately chose somewhere that I thought she'd be happy. It was a beautiful care home with a Victorian house and lots of acres of nature
And
and
she's
land.
telling me you brought little trinkets for her as well. So I do feel like you helped decorate her room, and she's adding pictures of the kids. So were you adding like family pictures of the kids in her room? Because she's saying you decorated um and added pictures of the family. Um
So my mother was our mother was very extraordinary in many ways, but she loved life and she loved collecting things from her travels. And she didn't have much. She had a very difficult time bringing us up by herself. But what she did have was very classy and attractive, if those are the right words to use. So she
yeah.
decorated things very well. And so when I moved her into the care home, I didn't want her being one of those residents that just had a couple of pictures on the side and a single bed. So I said to them that she had to take her double four-poster bed in with her. And my sister and I, the day before we moved her in, we went there and we decorated her room so it almost looked like her previous apartment. She had her furniture, she had her chairs, she had pictures of the grandchildren
Yeah.
all over the
Pictures of
walls,
the kids, and she says, and you decorated
everywhere.
with my trinkets. And so I do feel
We
like you
did.
didn't just stick her in a home and she's got a bed and a dresser. Like I literally feel like you made it beautiful. And please know
We
that
did,
she's aware
we
of that.
did, and people at the care home actually said that they've never seen anybody decorate somebody's room as nicely as my sister and I had, my mum's.
And
Yeah,
I'm rotating flowers as well. So were we changing out like fresh flowers or something also? Because she's talking about changing.
we all we my sister and I always bought fresh flowers when we went to visit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she says you would rotate, you would change in fresh. Oh, you guys are amazing.
Oh my God,
Good.
I can believe this because I can believe this because, like I told you, in my email, I believe in everything. I'm very open to everything, but this is just more than I imagined.
A
Yeah.
visit. Yeah. It's nice visiting with mom. Okay. And then why is she saying you stole my pink flowers and she's laughing? So, did you steal her pink flowers or did you take her pink flowers to your
Does
house?
she mean red?
I'm seeing bright pink. Almost like I don't think I'm talking about inside. So I don't know if we were digging up her flowers and taking them with you or something along those lines, but why is she talking about
When she moved out of her house before the care home, I was trying to get these very long, I've forgotten what they're called, but they basically look like very long snowdrops. And she was digging the bulbs out for me the summer that she was moving, and they come out every spring, and they came out recently. I also have a couple of her rose planters that I'd bought her for that new place, but
are
obviously
they
she did say
red?
they're very long, so
Are
they're
they,
not.
I mean, pink. I'm sorry, pink. I have to go back to the first color, not red, pink. She's showing me pink flowers and she said, yeah, she says you stole my pink flowers is what I'm saying. So did you take some of her flowers that were pink to your house? Because that's what I'm talking about. No?
I didn't, but I do have a pink rose bush in my garden, which was the first rose plant. Sorry, it's a plant. I didn't plant it in the ground. It's still in a pot. When I first moved in, and
Is it tied to
that's
her?
my
Because would it have been in honor of her or for her or because she's saying you stole my pink flowers. So if it's something she would grow and then you like grew it because she did, or
No,
okay.
it was mine. I bought it when I moved in, but when on the day of her funeral, I looked out of my window outside my shower room and I looked into my garden. It was November, so there shouldn't have been no flowers in my garden, but this pink rose plant was budding one single pink rose.
That because she's in
Very
that is probably what I'm talking about then because she's like tell
so
her she stole my pink flowers and she's showing me like
well
a
I
big pink flower.
I cut it. I cut it off. I cut it off the day that I was going to her coffin to do her hair and makeup, and I put the pink rose in her hand.
So you
But
did steal her flower that she grew for you.
but
And
then today, just before this call, I went outside, settled the kids in the lounge, and I've given them sweets and YouTube, which they never get. And I
love.
went outside and I went outside into my garden, and I picked this one, and I just put it next to me here. Because it's the same one that I put in her coffin with her.
Ah, stop it. Are you kidding me? Because when you were like, are
No,
they
I did this about 15 minutes before this call started.
she's like, tell her she stole my pink flowers. So yes,
Yeah, maybe
she's
she means
helping
I
you to
stole it
grow
from the
those
garden.
flowers and you're stealing them out of her garden. And listen, it's okay that you did, but I was like, what does she mean? And you're like saying something else. And she's like, no, that's not it. She stole them. Like she put them in her home. Like she took them out of the garden and put them, you put
Yeah,
them
well,
at your
yeah,
house.
that,
Oh my gosh,
and
I
it's the
love
same one.
her.
It's the same plant. It's the same rose plant where I put one in her hand in the coffin.
Wow, she's amazing. You stole my pink flowers to your home. She says, I love it so much. And you must share a love for gardening together. Um,
We did, yeah. We did, yeah.
we loved to garden together.
And her
Okay.
friends have often said that to me that clearly I take after her with my green fingers. And
Oh,
I have
and
no idea
then
what I'm doing.
so she's showing me your son. It's funny because I just did a reading for a family whose son played tennis, and she's referencing tennis for your son. But was your son stopping tennis right now or something? Is he on a break from tennis or?
Yeah, our kid. Yeah, we haven't been able to afford to send them to tennis lessons for quite a while, about a year. But they used to play tennis at a health club we go to. She might be referencing that during lockdown and the time that she stayed here for a few months before we moved her into the care home. I have this kitchen table that I'm sitting on, and it extends and becomes a long table. And to save boredom and give my mum things to do, which I was constantly trying to think about, I would extend the table, and my son would play table tennis with her on the table.
Because she's saying you're
Um,
so yes, if he stopped playing table tennis, that might be what because she says your son played tennis and she's telling me he stopped playing it. So do we not play table tennis now on that
He
table?
doesn't. No, he's got no. But a couple of months ago, he got her table tennis set out that she had at the care home, and he was doing it against my wall in the kitchen instead because he didn't have anyone to play with.
Love this so much.
But yeah,
So
they used to play table tennis together when she was living with us, and I used
this
to
is
task him with entertaining grandma for half an hour while I cooked dinner. And she's right, by the way, I cooked all the meals. She was always trying to help though,
yeah, she was like,
and she
I
always
didn't even have to cook. So like I love that. Yeah. So I mean her version of it is perfect. Like, but yeah, she says he
she well,
played
to be
tennis.
fair, bless her, she'd forgotten how to cook in many ways. So she
But
was a great cook
you
before
don't
the
bake the
dementia.
bread, she's telling me. So was there a bread that she would bake that you don't bake now? Like she's talking about a bread dough and she's kneading it and then she's telling me you don't bake the bread the same. And I almost feel like this would be now that's not a negative thing, just so you know. She's just
No,
teasing, okay? But is there a bread that she would make out of tradition or something, like almost like for a holiday or something along those lines, and then we don't make that?
no, not bread, but there's a cake she used to make, but I've been making it quite regularly since she passed for the
That's not
kids.
it. It's not a cake, it's
My
bread.
husband, my husband used to make homemade pizzas. So my husband would make the dough and make homemade
That I'm
pizzas when she was
making.
staying here.
Yeah, so there must have been a tradition like he would make it at certain times or something. Like I don't know, but she's
He it just became his kind of one lockdown contribution to cooking. He would
yeah,
make
because
these
is he
and
not
they
making
were
it lately
amazing.
anymore? Because she's telling me he
Yeah,
would.
exactly. It was a
Yeah,
lockdown thing. Yeah, yeah,
she says
yeah.
there is a bread you don't make at home anymore.
Yeah, it's the pizza dough. We don't make the pizza dough anymore.
Um, and that's okay. Just her way. I love him. I with him. I see him too, right? So I mean, it's really just her acknowledging him too, if that brings him into that equation. Um, but she says he's quite the cook.
He can be, yeah. He
Yeah,
definitely can be
I
when
get
when
you.
he
I'm
can.
also married to a man. Yeah.
Oh, there we go. I mean, to be fair, I take over like most women do. But if I
Oh
task
no,
him with
I'm the
making
same girl.
something,
I get you. Yeah, yeah. No,
yeah,
we can tease our husbands though, because we're the spunky ones. So there's that.
yeah,
Um,
exactly, yeah.
um, but yeah, she says he's quite the cook. Okay, and then she's showing me your daughter. So was daughter taking a new dance class? Because she's talking about a new dance class for your daughter.
She does 2 dance classes a week. Yeah, she does ballet and modern dance. She went to modern dance last night, so we went off to modern dance.
Yes, like, and one of those must be new since mom's passing. Since mom's passing, I know I keep trying to say mom, but I'm doing it wrong. But she's telling me one of them's
She's
new.
been well, she went back to ballet. She'd stopped to doing it for a while, but
Yeah.
I think she
She
might have
says
already
I'm
gone back.
so proud of her because I'm so,
She used to love her dancing.
she has beautiful lines. She's telling me.
She does, and she dances. She loves dancing. She used to dance for my mum at her care home on the grass outside the front, in front of all the residents, so they'd all enjoy watching her on the grass dancing. And
And
she
she's
was
quite the singer, she says. So your daughter can sing.
she loves singing and she loves dancing. Yeah.
Yeah, she's like, she's quite the singer. I don't know that she should sing, but she does a lot of it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 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 yeah. She lets go. She enjoys herself, definitely.
Exactly. Like it's just for fun, not necessarily trying to be a professional singer.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
She's quite the singer, Farah. She says, I'm gonna put leaned in and said, I don't know if she's just being silly, but and also nice, like we would only say this behind the scenes. Leaned in and said, I don't know if she should sing.
Yeah.
I don't know. But she does. So cute. Um, but I feel like she's really gifted as a dancer.
Yeah, she is. Yeah. She
Um,
flows really nicely. Kind of does her
uh,
own thing, and
oh,
she was dancing around my mum's bed while my mum was passing in the weeks that she was passing as well.
I love that. And that would be why she's bringing it up for her too, right? And I love that she
Yeah.
brought the tennis for your son, if that is something that she and him used to do, right? I mean, this is
Yeah.
just really validating your life, your love, her love for the kids and for you. Like she's a very involved grandmother, she's telling
She
me.
was, yeah.
So,
She was. She was, yeah.
uh,
Very involved.
very.
Not in a pushy, interfering way. Just she loved all of her grandchildren. She took great interest in all of them and
Yeah,
would do
and there is
anything to help.
more, is what she's telling me. And why is she separating three? Is there three more kids?
My sister has 3 children.
Yeah, because she's saying there's three more separately, and she says, I love those ones too, is what she's showing me. Oh,
And my sister has a boy and then twin boy and girl. Yeah.
three more grandkids.
And then there's more though. There's more than that. My
Yep.
sister has those 3.
And then you have a brother as well, correct?
Hmm.
Because she's telling me you have a brother. Oh, what's the two?
2
So
sisters.
she's telling me
Oh,
there's
my
two.
brother has 2 children.
Yep, two for him. Oh my gosh, I love your mom. She says,
Yeah. So
have
he has 2. My brother has 2. That's right.
brother, two kids for him. I'm not going to probably be able to keep your whole family dynamic straight, just being honest, but she's doing a good job at least like separating kids to, yeah, as well. Um, okay, but are brother's kids older than yours?
Yeah.
Because she says your brother's kids are older.
Yeah, they
And
are.
she's talking about driving. So are your brother's kids starting to drive, or we're talking about driving for one of his kids or something?
Yeah, so his eldest turned 18 in February. So I messaged her a few weeks ago about exams and yeah, so she's of that age of passing. I can't remember whether she's told me whether she did or not. But my sister's eldest is the one of that has 3. He's just passed his driving test as well. So yeah,
Yeah,
she's got
she's
2
talking about
grandchildren.
driving for one. Like one just started driving of the grandkids.
He
Is that
did.
yes.
I know that Thomas is driving. He's stealing his parents' car and claiming it to be his own. And yeah, not stealing it. You know what I
Way to
mean?
go, Thomas. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Not
Yeah,
legitimately. Got it. Yeah. He's
Yeah, so he
acquiring.
passed his test and he's been driving one of their cars around and saying that it's now his kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah, she says, this is
But
new.
I don't know whether the granddaughter who's of same age, I don't know whether she's actually got a car and done all of that
No,
yet.
I
So
feel like I'm talking about that grandson probably. And then you have
oh
another sister that does have more kids too, she's telling me. So,
no, no, I've got a sister that's got three children, a brother that's got two, and an elder sister who doesn't have any children.
okay. When you say no that she doesn't, was she in a relationship with somebody who had kids?
Um, no, I don't think so.
Okay,
Unless she
then
is now.
that.
I haven't spoken to her for a couple of months, but I don't know. But
Oh, you
I
mean
don't think
unless
she
she
ever
is
has
now.
been.
Okay. She says there is another sister for you. She's showing me more kids. So, was she in a relationship with somebody who had kids?
Not that I know of. No.
Only because I'm seeing one more little girl in my vision. So,
Oh,
would there be another little girl tied to that sister who doesn't have kids?
not that I know of.
I'll write it down. Little girl tied to that sister. So whether she lost a pregnancy or she was dating somebody that had a little girl, but I'm getting a reference to one little girl tied to her. I'm going to put it with a question mark because we can't place it, but I don't want to leave it out of my notes. Okay. Um,
Hmm.
sister as well. Again, I don't want to get too deep into like the different, we've got so many directions of obviously kids and grandkids and stuff, but I love that she's like, your brother has two and the other one has three, and she's awesome. Um, okay. And then she's talking about, she's made me feel a reference to a father figure there with her as well, tied to you.
Well, it would be her father, my grandfather.
Have, and he was close to the kids, she's telling me. So,
No. So my grandfather died when I was 11, before I had kids.
no, 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 to you kids.
Oh, if it's
'Cause
him, very much so.
yeah, yeah, yeah. She's telling me he was close to my kids, is what I'm seeing. Because I'm like, why is he like a father figure? And she's like, no, no, no. He was very present, very much like like a second father figure to the kids. So he must have been.
So it's either her father, my grandfather, who died when I was 11, or while my mum was got pneumonia and was in the dementia at the end of 21, her favorite cousin um died and they were bestest of friends as well as being cousins, and we loved him to bits. We used to he even though he was her cousin,
If
we called
he's
him
a
our uncle.
cousin, that would make more sense. I'm gonna have her validate that's him that she's talking about, only because this feels like a father figure type age and a father figure type like relationship with the kids. Because she says he was so
Not a
close.
grandfather type figure. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Well
I
then
feel
if
like
it's
a
if it
father type figure, so close to my kids.
well then it
And
might
then
be
why
our
is
Uncle
she talking
Brian.
about radio? What's the radio thing? Is there radio tied to him? Or
Don't think so.
was he on the radio? Or was he on, like, what's the speaking thing or the radio thing with him?
Oh, oh my God. You might not be talking about my Uncle Brian at all, or my grandfather. You might be talking about my true uncle, my mother's brother.
In her age group would be, right? So that would be in her generation. So yes,
So he worked for BBC Broadcasting House in London.
I don't know what that means, but is
So
that,
BBC, and you know BBC, you've heard of the BBC?
I don't
No,
do
it's
TV or
British.
like radio or anything. I haven't actually watched TV or
It's a
listened to radio in 13 years
Okay.
even, but
The
yes.
BBC, it's the British Broadcasting Corporation here in the UK. It's our main TV station, and they have a broadcasting house where they have the radio. And he
So
used to
that would
work at the
make sense with
radio.
the radio tie. Oh my gosh,
That's
I
the
love
only
it.
person. That's the only person I can think of. And
Yes,
that was her
I
brother,
would
and
say that's
he
not a
died.
stretch. Yes, holy crap, she's awesome.
He 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 died in 2013. Yeah, he
Yeah.
died in 2013, about 12 years ago.
And
And
then
so
she's
that's
made
the only
me feel
person I
like
can think of.
his passing came fairly quickly, she's telling me as well. So I do feel like he had illness, but it turned quick, she's telling me. Does that make sense?
She's right, yeah. From what I understand from my cousins, I think he had bowel cancer, which spread to his spine and then his brain. But I think it was kept under control when it was bowel for a while, and then it just went into his spine and went to his brain. And yeah, I mean, my son had just been born, so I was kind of busy with the
A
newborn
lot.
and stuff.
Right.
But from the phone calls and stuff that I remember at the time, I think it had gone from the doctors had it under control to suddenly it spread to his spine and brain. And yeah, then he was in hospice and gone, and it seemed to be quite quick. So if
Yeah,
she's
and I
referring
do
to
feel
him,
like
then
she says he loved my kids so much as well. So I do feel like he was present for you kids also. Like, um,
he was a great uncle and he was great fun. And whenever we went over there to have Sunday lunches, when she was sort of on her own with us at home, and that my aunt and uncle would say, "Come over for a roast." She'd stay with my aunt and cook the roast, and my uncle would take us and inevitably get us lost around. Well, not lost, but take us for hikes and walks around their village, and usually pretending to read a map, but not really. And he was great fun. He was a real outdoorsy. He used to teach rowing.
were you just taking a dog for a walk, actually? Just recently? She's saying you just took a dog for a walk.
Oh my god. Oh my God. My daughter's just been outside at a street party. One of her best friends who lives in the street, in fact, just had a party in the playground and park just outside our house. And I've said to my kids, I can't tell you why, but you've got to be inside by 6:30 tonight, and then you need to go and watch YouTube and eat sweets. So she's been at her friend's party in the park, and I went out to go and break the news. It was time to come in and have a quick shower because I needed to hunker her down for this. And she was with my neighbor who's got a Shih Tzu dog, and my daughter's obsessed with it. So my daughter was just walking the Shih Tzu on her lead in the playground, just outside before I started this call. And I had to say to her, come on, give Louis back to Kay. That's on my neighbor. Give Louis back. We've got to go inside now." But yeah, she was just walking a dog on a lead. Yeah, she was.
Wow.
Yeah. And
And
it's not
again,
our dog.
your mom loves you, she's with you, she sees you. That's why she's bringing it up, right? She was there with you. She's like, "Tell my daughter she was just walking a dog right before this," and like she's amazing. She says I
I've
was
got,
with
I've got,
you.
I've got to have a sip of my wine. Is that okay?
Yes, if you can pass me a glass of it, that would be great.
It's 7 o'clock here. It's okay.
See, I always say it's
Wow.
5 o'clock somewhere. But I'm not drinking when I'm doing my readings. But
No, no.
um, although I would do
Oh
just
my
fine.
God.
But yeah. Okay, but yeah, she says, yeah, you just took a dog for a walk before the call. I was with you. Okay. But did you have a bigger dog before?
I don't. I don't have a dog. We don't have a dog, but my mum had dogs. She had them all her life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But she showed me bigger dogs too, though, and that's what I'm talking. She's got dogs in heaven with her, and so they're bigger than the Shih Tzu, is what I'm seeing. Does that make sense? Like, so,
Yeah, I mean that's not hard, is it? They're
well,
quite small, aren't they? Shih Tzus? Go on, tell me how big they are. How big are you talking? Because then
so
I think
I'm
you might be
talking
on.
about two are excessively big, is what I'm seeing. So, like, not a Great Dane, but she should like. Is there something with two big dogs?
Well, I've got some pictures of her holding two big dogs, but not with me right now. I've got it somewhere else. I don't know where I put it, but you might be referring to this
Oh,
dog.
hold on. Let me get this. Let me get this back on. Oh, shut up. So was there two that were like that size?
There was more than two actually at some point, but I recently found a picture that I found on my phone. I must have taken a photograph of it in 2019 on my phone, and I went to visit her. And then I found it the other day and messaged my sister, and I said, "Oh, it's a shame I didn't put it into her eulogy. I did a movie of her life with all the photographs." So I found it the other day, and it's her with two of these, one either side of her when she
Yeah,
was
those are
about 12,
definitely bigger
13
than
years
Shih
old.
Tzus, but still furry like them.
Yeah.
She's like, they're not Shih Tzus fair. We had two bigger versions of that. Like, so
Well, when you said like Great Danes, that's the sort of size you were getting to. So they're
literally they're
Afghans. Yeah.
substantial size, but they're not Great Danes, she was telling me. So I was like, what is it then?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never even
Yeah,
seen that kind of
Afghans.
dog. And that is so cool. Showing me two big dogs in my vision. Not Great Danes, but that size.
My
Um,
mother used to live in a Oxfordshire village and became friends with a Afghan hound breeder who lived opposite her school. And so after school, instead of going home, she'd go and help the breeder brush them and feed them and walk them. And while she lived in the village, she helped. This lady ended up being a very famous Afghan hound breeder and wrote books and all sorts. And my mum would look after them after school and help her prepare them for crafts, to go to crafts.
That's
So my
so
mum always
cool.
loved she always loved Afghans. And then
And so I
when she got
wonder if she
married,
owned two at one time, because there's a reason, there's
so
any reason that she's putting two with her, or if there's two and
well,
if they're together with her.
I don't know the story behind this. You know, we always think we find the time to talk about everything, but we don't, do we? I don't
Right.
know whether the thing is she looked after this lady's Afghans when she was about 12, so she was in pigtails and stuff. So this photo is her not in pigtails. Here she's about 16, 17.
16,
So I don't
17.
know
Yeah.
whether I don't know whether she actually had one at that age too, or she just went back to visit. But when she got married, and I think I'd already been born. We did have one, and oh, no, maybe I haven't been born because I think my sister was about 3. She's my next sister. And there's 2.5 years between us. So maybe I'd just been born. Maybe I was like a baby in a basket somewhere. But my sister accidentally left the front door open and the dog ran and across the road and got hit. So we did own one. I know we owned one, but I
For
don't know
sure,
about a
right.
second.
So yeah, for some reason
Wow.
she showed me two with her, so I wrote it down. I mean, I don't leave anything out of my notes. And then she does make me feel like even her health took a quick turn. So was she getting sick in her blood? Because she's making me feel like I don't know if mom at the end started getting septic or started getting, but she's making me feel like there was like an infection that was going on for her. Because
Mm.
even if we have memory issues or like dementia or Alzheimer's, there's usually underlying factors that happen, that take us to heaven, whether we can't eat anymore or we aspirate, things like that. But she's telling me that there was an infection that she got with this. Does that make sense?
Oh God, it's going to set me off again. Farah, that's what I meant when the Alzheimer's didn't kill her. She slipped and she broke her shoulder in 4 places. She fractured her left shoulder in 4 places, and she fractured her humerus bone in her left arm, and she was left-handed. So, one, the dementia meant that she forgot that she'd broken her arm, so she was always trying to get up and do things, and then remembering that her arm was agony and was giving way.
Oh,
She fell out of bed. She went back to her care home, and then she fell out of bed that night again because she tried to go to the loo and forgotten her arm was broken, and then she ended up in hospital again. And she came back from hospital after that second trip, and over about 4 or 5 days, she declined rapidly. She wasn't. She was screaming, yelling, fighting with people, trying to look after her, and she ended up in hospital with an infection, and her markers were incredibly high. But they never found where the source was, so they just treated her for a week with morphine for the shoulder and antibiotics, and the infection markers came down, and they just said we should discharge her and let her sort of go home to be comfortable. But they never told us where the infection was. And when you said at the beginning she never forgot who I was, um,
she didn't forget you then either. So here's my question.
she
Did they check her for a UTI?
they did, yeah, yeah.
Because she's making me feel like it's in that area, that, whether it's her kidneys
Well,
or her bladder area, that we're compromising this. And I think that it was affecting, not that she already didn't have her brain affected by the dementia at the time. Please know that your mom is of beautiful sound mind now in heaven. But I think that it was affecting her brain because my grandmother had a UTI and she started visually seeing things that weren't there, like hallucinating and getting angry and snippy at people as well. And your mom's kind of almost making me feel like it was almost like that. It was almost like moments of psychosis that were going on for her
yeah,
because of the infection that was affecting her brain.
it was really scary. It was really scary and uncomfortable to deal with and watch. And she had pneumonia in 21, and I'd seen her go through something similar with that infection as well. But
Mm-hmm.
she didn't, like you said earlier, she didn't forget who I was. And even when I was in the hospital with her, she was calling out my name in the corridor. But by the time she'd been discharged 10 days later after that week stint, she went back to the care home. And although her eyes lit up when you walked into a room, she'd lost the ability to use her mouth properly. She couldn't eat, she couldn't speak. And she'd nod when you asked her something, and then she'd completely forget what you'd asked. I mean, it really finished her brain off. And so she never, and it really upset me at the time because I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to her, because one minute she knew who I was or she could talk to me, and then within a week she couldn't, even though her eyes lit up when I walked into a room. And a week before she died, I went to visit, and her last words to me was calling me precious, which was her nickname for me.
Ah.
And then and that was on the Wednesday, and then the following Monday I went to visit, and I could tell that that was it. It was time that she was going. And I walked into the room and spoke to her, and my daughter was with me, and She couldn't move. She hadn't moved for weeks. Everybody
She
had to do
waited
everything
for you
for
to
her,
leave,
right?
she's telling me. So she's telling me she waited for
She
you to leave.
well, that Monday when I walked in and spoke, she smiled. She managed to crack a smile and she puckered her lips like this. And I leant into the bed and gave her a kiss. And once I gave her the kiss, she almost started to sink into that stage of dying. And then she went 2 days later. But my sisters and I were with her. But she actually we had all three of us had left the room for about 10 minutes, and then I happened to come back and noticed that her breathing had changed. And I managed to get my sisters back in the room, and she'd gone within 5 to 10 breaths.
Yeah, because she's telling me I waited for, so I do feel like she was stable or still present at some, and then she's saying, I waited for you to leave. So when you come back, she is now in the process, but you didn't get to see the actual millisecond of that change. And she's saying, I feel like that was for your heart because I think it would have been too hard for you to notice that abrupt change in person.
Well, yeah, we'd been with her for 2 days, so we'd watched her struggle for 2 days, and the breathing and all the different changes in the breathing and the body. But yeah, we decided to. I went downstairs. My sister went to brush her teeth. My other sister went
You
somewhere
needed a
else,
break.
and
She says, I waited for you to leave for a moment. So I do feel like she waited for you to leave, is
but
what I'm
she did.
saying.
She didn't win though, because I managed to get back in time and scream down the corridors and get my sisters, and we all three of us were by her bed as she took
No,
her
but she's
last
just saying you
breaths.
needed
But
a break. Like, I feel like you needed a break before, because then the process begins of calling people, getting people in,
watching
and all of those things,
exactly,
and
yeah.
trying to desperately spend our last final moments with their physical presence, and all those things as a family. So, but yeah, she says you needed a break. So I do feel like she waited for you to leave the room, and you got your little
Yeah.
break, and then you come back in, and she says I passed in peace. So I do, she's telling me I passed peacefully. Um, they had to up my medication, she says. So did you have to get a call in for upping or changing the medication?
She was getting very anxious, so she was put on one of those drivers where they're given the different medications to sort of keep her
Yep.
calm. And
She says they
the only
had to
one
up
she
my
wasn't,
medications. And then I feel like she was calm.
she was, yeah, yeah.
Then I was calm. Okay, was calm. And then, okay. Um, was your daughter just making art with red? Like, was she just like making a red flower or a red, like, picture?
I don't, when you say just, do you mean like in the last few days or?
Yes, like in the last, like she's showing me your daughter made art with red and she's almost like painting with red or
Oh, I
something.
don't know, but she might have done something at school that's not come back yet.
Okay, art with red or red paint. I almost feel like I'm painting a red flower or something in my vision. Is there something with a red flower?
Mm. Poppies were my mum's favorite flowers, red poppies.
Cool. She's
And
painting a red flower in my vision, and I wonder if
my
your daughter
daughter,
painted that.
she's always drawing poppies.
That, because
She
she's
made a
talking about your daughter painting the red flower. So even if she didn't make it in red, if she just drew it or whatever, and didn't your mom, sorry, I try to be respectful of the way that we say things, but your mom is making me feel like your daughter can like draw or paint the red flowers. So if she's even painting them or drawing them without the red in them, you would know what flowers she's talking about. But I feel like your daughter makes that specific flower, is what I'm seeing. That is so cool.
she came home yet she came home yesterday with a piece of clay that she'd made, and upside down it looked like men's genitals. So I said, "Oh, that looks like a willy." And she turned it over and she said, "It's a poppy for grandma." So it wasn't painted or it wasn't red. And I threw it in the bin earlier. It's in the bin. It's a piece of clay, but yeah, upside down. It
I
just
hope to
basically looked
God
like.
you're going to let me share this video with the public.
I better fetch it out of the bin because I chucked it out of the bin earlier. I was like, I don't need that in the house.
No,
But
girl,
she, so she,
I would mom just like you. Actually, I would have painted that thing bronze and stuck it in the closet and saved it for her wedding day. Um, But that's so
But it's
cute.
not but it's not red, it's just clay. But she did
That's
say it was
okay.
a
Your mom's
poppy.
got to get
And
me to the specific type of flower that we're talking about. So if she makes it red, like charades in my
uh
head, for you, you'll know because she's showing me your daughter making art with like the red, you know what I mean? So then and then she's
so
making a flower and oh my gosh. Okay.
yeah, poppies were mum's favorite flower, and I put them on I gave everybody in the church a pack of tissues with photos of my mum, and there were poppies on the pack of
Listen, if
tissues as
your
well.
mom made a Willy in my vision, I would have been like, Mom, what are we doing right now?
But yeah, that's her latest creation is
Not that I wouldn't have
a
said it, but I would have been a little bit like, wait, hold on. Yeah. Oh my gosh, love it. But yeah, she says your
it
daughter makes
doesn't
art.
my mum's very clever because it doesn't look anything like a poppy to me. So I'm glad my mum worked that out.
Yeah, grandmas are really good at deciphering children's art, and words. Um, okay. And then were you doing a new little braid in your daughter's hair, or is there a reason she's doing like were we doing a braid that goes
I
back?
can't braid. I can't braid very well. No, but I put a hair clip in her to go to her party in the park just now, and I did grab her hair from the two
That
sides here,
she's
and then
pulling it and she's twisting it in my vision.
yeah,
Did you?
I just got my daughter's hair by the sides and I twisted it, and then I put a clip at the back there before she went to the party in the park. That's the only thing I can think of. I don't do
But
braiding very well. I'm not
no,
very
no,
good
I
with
don't either.
hair.
But she's twisting my hair like
Yeah,
in her
I
vision,
just did that
right?
for my daughter. Yeah,
Stop.
yeah,
Your mom is amazing. Showing me you twisted your daughter's hair. Um, hair. Just recently. Yeah, like you just did that.
yeah. I did it this afternoon. Yeah,
She says, I was with you. Um, okay. Was your son's was your son also playing? He's playing two sports, she's telling me. So is there two sports that he does?
he plays basketball.
Cool.
Yeah,
Plays
plays a lot of basketball.
two sports. Okay. And he says she's telling me the coach is really good as well. So
Yeah, he loves his
I
coach.
feel like
Yeah,
we really love, like, he's very down to earth with the kids.
yeah, yeah.
Yay.
It's really helping him thrive with it.
Really good. Yeah. Because I feel like that coach inspires and builds up the kids. That's a blessing. Inspires and builds up the kids. Okay. The kids. Um, sorry, I'm saying okay to her. Um, were we talking about driving little go-karts somewhere or something like that with your son? Was your son talking about driving like a little go-kart type thing or like a little car thing? It wouldn't be a regular car.
Mm-mm.
I don't feel like he's old enough for that. Um, like a little
No, he's not.
a cart or a car no, he's not old enough, she's telling me, but was there something with like whether it's an amusement park thing or something like that? She's talking about driving, like I almost feel like I'm in an amusement park and like driving like a little go-kart or a little race car, like, but it would be little, like or bumper cars or whatever this is.
I
No?
don't think so.
Okay.
No, that doesn't ring any bells.
That's okay. I'm gonna write it down.
He's not really into cars. He's not.
No, this would be like a little fun thing for a kid. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Little
he hasn't done anything like that lately.
fun car or go-kart for your son. Okay, then she's taking me overseas in my vision. So I don't know if we're talking about taking a trip overseas, but what I'm seeing is it almost looks like Asia in my vision because I'm seeing like temples and like things like that. Is there something with going? Are we talking about taking a trip to like a temple type area in Asia or something?
God. I just got back from Asia 48 hours ago.
Shut up,
Yeah, I'm still jet lagged. That's why I'm a bit like, ooh, and keep crying. Sorry, but I just got back from Asia 48 hours ago. Yeah, and
girl.
no one knew because I decided to keep it on the down low, and I would usually, be on Facebook and going, hey, this is, sending photo. I kept it very low key. My husband, my kids, a couple of girlfriends, and my sister knew that I went, and I've not mentioned it to anybody.
Your mom knows.
I was wondering whether it would come through, so I was trying to keep it a bit quiet. And
Yeah,
now I'll
and
talk
were
about it.
you seeing a
Put up all
temple?
the photos.
Were you seeing a
Um,
temple area there also where you were? Like I'm seeing like a big, beautiful temple in my vision.
yeah, I mean every day, but where I went, there are temples everywhere. Yeah, on the
Okay,
street corners, practically. Yeah.
okay, got you. Temple area there as well. And then I'm seeing beautiful like sheer material also, like it's delicate material. So I don't know if we were getting, I almost can see through this. So for me, it's like the clothing that they would wear there or something. Was there something special? Like, were we buying like a scarf type thing or something that we would drape? Or does that make sense? Because she's like draping this on me or
What color is it?
shit. I don't know. Hold on. Let me write this down. Showing me draping.
Because then I think then you might be talking about something I think you're talking about, but otherwise I'm a bit of a loss.
She's showing me draping sheer material on me. And this would be something that we would drape. Does that make sense so far?
It does.
Showing me draping material on me.
I want to leave the room and go and get it, but I'll disturb
And
my
then
kids and then
why
maybe I'll
is
kick
she
the Zooms over.
changing? Why is she changing the blue? So she's telling me, was there another one that was blue and then this one is not? So I have to try to interpret this one's not blue, correct?
Yeah. Oh well, she's not giving it to you, but um,
I'm
I'm
seeing
just
what
trying to
looks
work
like
out
a
whether we're
pinkish
talking.
red or a pink, like I'm seeing like a pinkish red or like a pink with this.
It's an orangey color actually.
Yeah, like it's a pinkish reddish, like it's a bright color that I'm seeing. Does that make sense? Like almost like a fuchsia, like whether it's like, yeah, if it's orange, it's got to have a bit of a coral color to it or something
It
like
is a corally, yeah. It is a
yes.
coral, yeah.
Shut
Uh,
up. Go get it.
yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Sorry, I wasn't saying tell me the color to test you. I wanted to know whether we
No,
were
no,
going down the
no.
right
I'm
thing.
glad you did. So I've learned over
Because
time. So,
if it
yes.
wasn't that, then I basically wouldn't have a clue what you're talking about. So I took my mum had this beautiful corally orange silk scarf, but more of a scarf. It's like a shawl scarf, and I have photos of her wearing it with me in Asia where I've just been, and
Oh my gosh.
I just took it on the trip with me, and I wore it sometimes on the trip, and on my last night I wore it on the last night. Yeah, yeah,
Your
and
mom,
I have a pic.
absolutely amazing. She really is. She's so good at the visuals and the things, you know what I mean? Like, because I'm trying to describe these things. And I don't know if she had a blue one also before that, which is why she's like, this is not the blue one that she's had. Because for me, she's telling me you had like the reddish, yes, like the reddish pink one or
Yeah, I
whatever, you know
do.
what I mean?
Yeah.
And she's showing me like a coral color with that,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she says coral color in my vision, reddish pink scarf in my vision. So
Yeah,
literally it's
I took it with me.
to Asia. Because when she's
Yeah.
talking about Asia, then she starts showing me and dressing me with this scarf. And
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
wow, I'm done with you. No, I'm just kidding. I'm like, she's giving you enough. Oh my God, she's amazing. Okay, scarf
So
vision. Showing me this with you.
so I went where I went was Bali, and my mother and I went to Bali together about 5 times, and I got married there too. So it was a place where we spent a lot of time together.
Oh,
And so I was able to go and visit the places that we'd been to when I was out there, and sort of the places that we used to walk and go and eat.
and
And
this is her way of saying I was with you. And I could have generically said that, but your neighbor could have told you, oh, your mom was with you, right? And so they know through me, like, start bringing up something specific. So she's answering, like, she's bringing up this Asian type trip in my vision and showing me the temples.
yeah,
And of course, unfortunately, I'm geographically challenged. I've never been to Bali, and I've never really been anywhere but Aruba 3 times. And then that's it. Like, I have a whole world to see. I just haven't had time to see it. And, yeah, so when she shows me this, and then all of a sudden she's like draping you in this like sheer like scarf type thing.
yeah,
So, and if you said that you wore it in honor of her, this is her way of saying, look, I wasn't just there with you. I knew you wore the scarf, like I was absolutely present for that trip. She's so amazing at connecting. So, um,
And when you say the temples in Bali, there's because they're Hindus, there's temples on in every compound, every family compound has a like a mini prayer area. I'm calling it a temple, it's not, but then on every street there's a larger temple, and in every town there's a lot. And so wherever you're walking, you're suddenly stopping and you've got a doorway and there's a beautiful temple behind it. So
wow.
yeah, that's
And,
where I
and and of
was.
course she's using my Rolodex of words because I wouldn't know the proper name, and I don't, no disrespect to Bali and their beautiful, spaces.
No,
I just don't
yeah,
know the names of them, so she's got to use the best, like version of what
yeah,
she says.
they are temples, but within every household they also have like a small prayer area, and
Oh, cool.
I don't know what those are called myself actually, but yeah, they do. It's temples on every street in Bali. They're
So
everywhere.
when we're talking about that and you're talking about the prayer area, why is she laughing about the shoe issue? So, did you have an issue with your shoes when you were in Bali?
Uh, well, kind of, but not to do with the temples.
No. In tied to the Bali trip, is there some issue that you had with your shoes?
I've got a. Can I mention a brand on this? I've got a
Sure.
pair of flip. Oh, I've got a pair of flip flops. Called Fit Flops, and I've had them for years, and they're really comfortable on the feet. So they're not just like flip flops; they are called Fit Flops because they make you try and balance when you're walking. So they're really good for stabilizing you. Anyway, they broke a couple of days before I left, so I
Ah,
chucked them in the bin. So when I got to Bali, I bought myself another pair of Fit Flops, because so that I can walk around comfortably without my knees and my hips aching walking around. But I also, my trainers had started to pack in before I'd left, and they had started rubbing on my heel. And I love walking, and I planned on doing lots of walking in Bali, which I did. So when I got there, I walked to a sports station, bought some trainers, gave them my old ones, and told them to chuck them in the bin. So I had two things with shoes in Bali.
which is
I
not,
needed
we
to.
don't always have a shoe crisis before and
No,
during a
I had
trip,
two.
right? But
I
I
had
don't.
I had two.
I'm
So
gonna
when
have
I
to try
got there,
these
I had
flip
to
flops out
buy.
because I've never heard of them, but I wear flip flops
Oh, they're
every
so
single
good.
day. So I love that idea. I'll have to look and see if we have them
Yeah.
available here for me to get them, right?
Yeah, so comfy, so comfy. So I had to buy two things when I was out there. One was a decent pair of Fit Flops, and one was a new pair of trainers.
She says, I was with you every step of your trip.
Oh my God. Even the boring times where I was buying some new trainers.
That's not boring. It's time with her girl. And time is endless for
Yeah,
her, it's time for you. It's moments that you now get to realize that you spent with your mom, even if you didn't realize she was there every step. So, but she says, I was with you every step on that trip. Um, and she says, I love you so much. And I do feel like she loves her whole family. She's a very, very loved and respected mom from all of her children. So please know nobody's favorite. She's making me feel like, she says, my
oh.
kids are all so loved.
Um, I was her baby, but she always used to say, you're all very different, but I love you all equally, and my life wouldn't have been the same without you all." So that's what she used to say about all four of us. Yeah.
Yep, she says no one is my favorite. And and I feel like she treated everybody with the equal amount of love.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing. Not every family can say that, right? So,
Yeah. Yeah.
treated everyone. Um, one with love, with so much love. Um, um, and she's talking about dad being separate. So was your father separate in life from her?
Mm. Mm.
Very, she says. Like, so were they split?
Yeah.
Yeah, in a big way. Because I just said, wait, what about dad? And she's like, oh no. So
Um, yeah. He wasn't a very good husband, and he didn't really want to be a father or a very good one. So by the time I was about two or three, I think they got divorced. So she brought up four children by herself.
that's amazing. And I just didn't want to not acknowledge because I forgot to ask her if she had a husband or something, and she's like, no. Like I feel like your father was separate, and she's making me feel like she was independent and beautiful
She
and
very much
strong.
was. Yeah, yeah, she was. She was. She did it all by herself. He's still alive, but yeah, he's
That's all
they
right.
separated a long time
Yep.
ago.
Yep. She says, I'm an independent and strong, beautiful woman.
Yes, she was.
Still is.
Yes, she was.
Know that she loves you. I do feel like she's pulling her energy back, but hopefully this is helpful for your heart today. She is absolutely amazing. I'm going to stop this recording. Hold on one second. Let me see if I can stop it. There we go.